My name is Matteo Bellini, and what I'm about to share with you happened on May 7th, 2025, the day the Cardinals entered the Sistine Chapel to choose the next pope. It was supposed to be just another quiet morning. I had woken up early, made my espresso, and turned on the news to watch the start of the conclave. As a layman and lifelong Catholic from Naples, I had followed the church through its many seasons: scandal, reform, silence, beauty, confusion, awe. I wasn't a priest, wasn't a theologian, just a man trying to love Jesus as best I could. And like many Catholics, I'd been praying for the church, for her future, for this decision that could change everything. I didn't expect to die that day. It happened suddenly, without pain, without warning. I remember reaching for my coffee, then a flash of heat, dizziness, and the world began to fade. I fell to the ground, and the last thing I heard was the hum of the television reporting, "The Cardinals are now under lock and key." Then silence, but not sleep, not unconsciousness. I was awake, but I wasn't in my body anymore. At first, it was like floating in still water. No pain, no gravity, no fear. Then came awareness. My soul knew something sacred was happening. I was moving, not with steps, but as if drawn. There were no walls, no sky, just light, soft and alive, like the light had breath. And in the midst of it, I heard my name, Matteo, not shouted, not whispered, just spoken. And with that word, I felt every wall in me fall, because it wasn't just sound, it was a presence. And then I saw him. I've prayed to Jesus my whole life. I've read about him, received him in the Eucharist, meditated on his passion. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepares you for standing before the actual Jesus. He wasn't a picture, not a statue, not a vision from a holy card. He was alive, with eyes like oceans, a face like fire and tenderness fused together, and hands bearing scars that somehow glowed instead of wounded. His presence overwhelmed me, not in fear, but in recognition. "You have prayed for my church," he said, "and so I will show you what is hidden." I fell, not in shame, but in surrender. I could barely breathe. "Jesus, I don't deserve to be here," I managed to say. He didn't answer with words at first. He reached for me, not just physically, but spiritually. I felt every part of my soul laid bare. All my sins, all my weakness, all my love, and I knew he had seen it all. And still, he loved me. Jesus led me, not by hand, but by presence. And suddenly I saw the world, but not the way we see it. I saw it as if through his eyes. I saw the Vatican, the Sistine Chapel, and the Conclave in real time, but not the polished cameras or papal protocol. I saw the spiritual reality. Cardinals dressed in red, but some hearts cold as stone, some kneeling in deep prayer, others restless, calculating, afraid. Then I saw demons, not with horns or wings, but as shadows that whispered lies in the ears of the unguarded. Choose the one who will please the world. Avoid the one who prays too much. Pick charisma. Avoid the cross. Jesus said, "This is not politics. It is a battlefield." Then Jesus showed me a man, not as a name first, but as a light, His light wasn't flashy. It didn't scream for attention. It flickered like a candle that had burned in hidden rooms for years, steadily, faithfully, in silence. "Who is he?" I asked. "You know him," Jesus said. "The world may not, but the angels do." And then I saw his name written in the heavens, Cardinal Robert Serra. I saw his life, born in Guinea, Africa. I saw the dirt floors of his village. I saw his mother praying the rosary. I saw his tears as a young boy kneeling under persecution. I saw him becoming a priest, not a climb, but to surrender. Jesus said, "He carries the wounds of the forgotten. That is why he can carry the weight of my bride." I wept. Then Jesus showed me a vision, a throne in St. Peter's, empty. 2 hands approached. One tried to grab it, with rings, robes, applause behind him. The other knelt before it, trembling. Jesus turned to me. "The one who grabs it will lose it. The one who fears it may bear it." I understood. The throne of Peter isn't a reward. It's a cross. Jesus asked me, "What kind of shepherd do you think my church needs?" Before I could speak, he answered for me, "Through images, through souls." I saw a father holding his autistic son outside a cathedral, afraid to enter, a nun cleaning a dying man's wounds in a hospice, a teenager weeping after confessing a hidden sin. Then Jesus said, "The church needs a pope who can carry all of them, not in popularity, but in prayer. A man who will not change my word to win praise, but who will weep when the world rejects it." I saw Serra again. He was alone in a chapel, hands folded, tears falling on the altar, not ambitious, just surrendered. But then I saw something else, a great shaking, scandals exposed, doctrines distorted, even some bishops turning away from truth. And I saw a headline appear in the spirit: "The church must evolve." Jesus shook his head. The church must return, not evolve. He looked into me with fire in his eyes. "If my people do not pray, if they treat this like politics, they will not recognize my choice." I saw prayers rising like incense from all over the world, some strong, some weak, but real. They reached heaven, and Jesus said, "Tell them to pray for the one who doesn't want the power, because he's the only one strong enough to carry it." Suddenly, the vision faded. Jesus placed his hand over my heart. "You must go back. Speak what you've seen, even if they mock you." He smiled, but it was a fierce, holy smile. "The church is mine, but I work through the faithful." And just like that, I woke up. I was on the floor, paramedics around me. I had been gone for minutes, but what I saw felt like eternity. My life hasn't been the same. When I returned to consciousness, I found myself lying on the cold tile floor of my apartment, surrounded by paramedics. The television still played in the background, broadcasting live coverage of the Papal Conclave. The commentators speculated about potential candidates, their voices a distant murmur compared to profound silence I had just experienced. As I sat up, memories of my encounter flooded back. The overwhelming presence of Jesus, the vision of the church, and the name that echoed in my soul, Cardinal Robert Serra. I knew I couldn't keep this experience to myself. The world needed to hear what I had seen, especially now, as the church stood at a crossroads. I began by sharing my experience with my parish priest, Father Antonio. He listened patiently, his eyes reflecting a mix of curiosity and concern. When I finished, he placed a hand on my shoulder and said, "Matteo, such experiences are rare and sacred, but be cautious. Not everyone will understand." He was right. As I shared my story with others, friends, family, fellow parishioners, I encountered a range of reactions. Some were moved to tears, others skeptical. A few dismissed it outright as a hallucination or a dream. But I knew what I had experienced was real. Determined to reach a broader audience, I turned to social media. I recorded a video recounting my near-death experience, emphasizing the urgency of prayer and the importance of seeking a leader who embodied humility, faith, and a deep connection to God. The response was overwhelming. Messages poured in from around the world, some sharing similar visions, others expressing gratitude for the reminder to pray fervently during this pivotal time. Days later, white smoke billowed from the Sistine Chapel's chimney, signaling the election of a new pope. The world watched as Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost, an American, stepped onto the balcony as Pope Leo XIV. While many celebrated this historic moment, the first American pope, I couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. This was not the man I had seen in my vision. Questions swirled in my mind. Had the church chosen the right leader? What did this mean for the future? I revisited my experience, seeking clarity. Perhaps the vision wasn't about a specific individual ascending to the papacy, but about the qualities the church desperately needed in its leader. Humility, a deep prayer life, and an unwavering commitment to truth. Regardless of the conclave's outcome, the message remained clear. The church needed prayer. Its leaders needed support, not just in words, but in earnest intercession. The faithful needed to rise, not in protest, but in unity, seeking God's guidance and protection for the church's future. I began organizing prayer vigils, encouraging communities to gather and pray for Pope Leo XIV, for the cardinals, and for the global church. The response was heartening. Churches filled with believers, young and old, lifting their voices in unison, seeking divine wisdom and strength. In the months that followed, I continued to share my experience, not to elevate myself, but to remind others of the power of prayer and the importance of spiritual vigilance. The church, like any institution, faces challenges, but with faith, unity, and a collective commitment to God's will, it can navigate any storm. My journey taught me that God speaks in unexpected ways to unexpected people, and when He does, it's our responsibility to listen, to act, and to share. To anyone listening, the future of the church doesn't rest solely on the shoulders of its leaders. It rests on all of us. Our prayers, our actions, our commitment to living out the gospel. These are the pillars that will uphold the church in times of trial. Let us remain steadfast, hopeful, and ever prayerful. If this message resonates with you, I urge you to share it. Organize prayer groups in your communities. Support your local parishes. Engage in open, respectful dialogues about the church's direction. And most importantly, keep the church and its leaders in your daily prayers. Together, as a united body of believers, we can ensure that the Church remains a beacon of hope and truth in the world.